everyone, welcome to part 2 of what to sew and sell when you have limited time. These projects feel a little bit more substantial because they're quite bigger, but they're still under 20 minutes and very fast to bulk sew. I have 5 ideas to stock your booth for your next market. I'm Christina and I'm the owner of Stitched and Fancy, and I am on this journey to grow my business and I'm taking you guys with me. Let's go ahead and get started. First up are these pocket pillows. I started by cutting 2 pillow paddles the same size. I went 15 by 15, and then I cut a smaller rectangle for the pocket. For the pocket piece, I folded down the top edge and pressed it, and then I stitched it to have like a nice clean top. And then I placed the pocket on the front panel, lined it up where I wanted it to be, and placed the back side face down on top of everything. I gave myself a nice little hole and I went ahead and stitched around the perimeter of the pillow. I cut my corners so it'd be easier to poke out, and I flipped this guy right side out. I had a lot of polyfill left over, so I went ahead and stuffed it with this, and then I hand sewn it shut. I did the invisible stitch, which I find works best for these pillows, and you can't see that it was hand sewn right here. This was one of the fastest projects that I had, and I think it's really great and beautiful. This is great for a kid in your life or a book lover in your life. You could put trim around the edge of the pillow. There's just so many things you could do with this. I've even seen some of them with handles on it. And that is it for the pillow pocket. So next is the book sleeve. With the book sleeve, I wanted to make sure that it was still fluffy, but I did not want to quilt it because I really wanted to keep this as simple as possible so I could sell it at a good price point. I don't have a lot of things to sell at $10 to $15. I made some products that matched that price point. I took this padding I got from Walmart. It's not my normal padding, so the batting is a little bit thinner than I normally use, but it still puffs it up a little bit. And I just sew the perimeter, and I do the same with my lining. I like to box the corners because I just feel like it gives it more of a polished look. And then I have a whole bunch of buttons I got from Hobby Lobby for 99 cents each for the pack. Aren't these so cute? I just thought it was so great that I got these buttons before I even knew that they were buttons, and it honestly has not disappointed me. So I'm just going to find the perfect button. I think these heart-shaped ones are perfect for this, especially because there's a little bit of hearts on this book fabric already. So I'll just hand stitch this button on, and that is all. Stay tuned for a future video on how I make this a blind date with a book, but I do have big plans for this guy. But you could also stop here and just sell it as is because it is super cute. Next is my bow tote. This is actually a big seller of mine. First thing I did, cut out the tote size that I wanted, and then I cut the appropriate lining for the inside. Then I also am going to cut some fabric that goes with the bow, and I'm going to measure it on my bow tote. This is the perfect bow size I want. I'm going to start sewing it down. So for the bow portion, I scrunch it together and see how I want the bow to look. That looks a little perfect for me. So then I'm going to make my middle. I make my middle by sewing down a piece of scrap fabric and then wrapping it around the middle. I then take this back to my sewing machine and just kind of sew it down tight. It's not exactly stable because this thing moves, but I don't really like sewing through the middle of it for my bow totes. You can hand stitch this on if you want. Now I'm going to take my bow and I'm going to place it down how I want it on the front of my tote. I'm going to pin it in place, and then I'm going to sew it down at the edges of the bow tote. As you can see here, and I'm just going to go in and sew some of the bow on at my fold with my sewing machine. I'm going to where I feel like I could hide my stitching, and it's not going to take too much away from my form, but I do want it just to be in there tight. Now that I have the bow in place where I want it, I'm going to take my back side of the tote, place it face down on top of the bow, and I'm going to sew the perimeter. I'm going to box out these corners. You don't necessarily have to. I just did. I will be making some varieties that don't have boxed out corners. I'm also going to do the same with the lining, and then I'm going to add my strap in there, sew the top part, leave myself a nice little hole to flip it all inside out. And then I'm going to go ahead and top stitch my perimeter of the bag after I flip it all out. And that's it. That's my bow tote. You too, go ahead and add a pocket if you want. You can even do a zipper pocket, but this is the fast, most basic way to make the bow tote. Next is the reusable gift bag. I kept this one really simple. I did put interfacing in it just to make it a little bit more sturdy, and I also used canvas or duck cloth for this project. Instead of doing any lining, I did a French seam all the way around all my edges. You can't tell I used interfacing. It just looks like a white inside, and I think that looks great. I boxed out my corners again using the front seam, and as you can see, it's just a clean, nice, beautiful bag with no lining, and you can't tell. I add my straps to it. You could use canvas webbing. You could also use some really pretty lace. You could also use some ribbon for it. It's super cute, and this is just a nice, great thing to sell at your booth that is eco-friendly and beautiful. Last but not least is the dog collar. This actually is a really fun project, and you could actually make a leash with it too. What I did was I took some fabric that I liked, and then I got some nylon webbing to go with it. Here I'm actually using cotton webbing. It's just what I had left, and I'm in the middle of a move, so this was just easier to find. Then you just need some hardware to go with it. You just need a D-ring, an adjustable, and then your clips to actually get the dog collar on. You don't have to use the webbing. I think the webbing just makes it feel a little bit more sturdy. And if you sell it at a higher price point, it feels like it's worth it. If you don't use the webbing, I personally would not want to pay a higher price point for this. I feel like without the webbing, no matter how cute the fabric is, I'd only want to pay $5 for this. You could get really creative. You could add a bow to it. You could add lace to it. This one, I just kind of kept it really simple. I've seen some where they actually made like a scrunchie casing and then slid the webbing in between. I thought that was just a little too much for me because turning it inside out, it just takes too much time. So what I did was I made my fabric like a lanyard, but made sure it went over my webbing. And then I sewed it all together. I did 2 more lines through it just so it could look cute, and honestly it almost looks like it's quilted here. And then now it's time to attach the hardware. The D-ring, I found the easiest to slip it through the buckle before you slip it on the other side. It's tight and secure and it's not going anywhere, and that's a good place to put the leash, to attach a leash to. So next you want to put your adjustable ring on it, and this just makes your collar adjustable, and you just want to make sure you fold down your ends. You sew down your ends. I like to fold my raw edges inside and then just sew it down very slowly and surely. And I back and forward stitch a couple times just to make sure it's on there tight. And then this is it. This is my dog collar. It's adjustable, it's cute, it's Christmassy, and it feels very sturdy. It's a great gift. And you could pair this with a scrunchy keychain. At the same time, in this same method, you could also make a leash. You just need, of course, the leash hook for it. And you just make it a lot longer with a strap and a ring at the bottom. And you could have a nice little pairing that's super cute for an owner to have. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope that these projects sit well with you. So all 5 of these projects have the same theme for me right now, which is quick. They're a little bit bigger, and they're practical pieces that you can sell at your booth. I think that they are cute. They are great gifts to give, and you could bulk sell them in limited pockets of time. I wanted to make sure that everything was simple, clean, polished, and doable, which is just perfect for my busy schedule. That was part 2. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys for all your kind comments. And let me know if any of them are your favorite or you're excited to make. Please tag me if you do decide to make one of these things and add your spin to it. I can't wait to see it all. Next week, I'm going to talk about how I bulk sew my best sellers, which are boxy bags, Bible covers, and ruffle clutches. So please consider subscribing if you really like this video. I'm growing my business. I'd love you guys to come along with me. And thank you so much for watching. Until next time, bye.